A very warm good morning. Okay, so a very warm good morning to all of you, to all the faculty members, all the academicians, students, teachers, and dear participants. We are today in the second day of our two-day international webinar on the topic Delving Deep Language Skills and Undercurrent Personality Traits, held on 22nd of April and 23rd of April 2021. This seminar is being organized by Government Engineering College, Daman, and Daman is under Union Territory Administration of Dadra Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu, India. So we have completed 3 sessions yesterday, and those sessions were really beneficial for the participants and for us. Now, today, nevertheless, we are very blessed with 2 more speakers with us, Dr. Sneha Mishra, and the next session will be followed by Dr. Harpreet Kaur. Now, today, we are going to start this current session, which will be headed by Dr. Sneha Mishra. Now, I will request the admin to bring her into the focus. Thank you. Now, before I allow Dr. Sneha Mishra to start her talk, it is a matter of immense pleasure for me to give a very brief introduction about some of our feats and achievements. Now, Dr. Sneha Mishra is an assistant professor at Vellore Institute of Technology, Vellore campus, Tamil Nadu. Primarily, she works in the area of language documentation and preservation of endangered languages. She has also been active in domains such as multilingualism, sound symbolism, and onomastics. And for the students, if you don't know the meaning of onomastics, basically it is the study of the origin of names. By and large. It's an interesting area, I must say. After graduating from Indian Institute of Technology, Dhanbad, she has served institutions like National Institute of Technology and Veer Mata Jijabai Technological Institute since 2016. She has taught communication, soft skills, academic writing skills to the UG and PG students of the respective institutes. So due to the paucity of time, we have taken a very short bio note of the speaker, but the speech will nevertheless be short, and it must be informative and beneficial for the students and participants, whoever present all over the world. So thank you so much, ma'am, for accepting our proposal and for your kind attention. Even in your busy schedule, you have come over here to address your talk. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now the platform is all yours.
Thank you, Debashish sir. It's my pleasure to be part of this auspicious conference. So, okay, so I can begin my talk then. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Sneha Mishra. And currently, I'm working as an assistant professor at Vellore Institute of Technology, Tamil Nadu. And today, I will be delivering my talk on the topic, Speaking with Confidence. Okay, next slide. Yes. So now, the ability to deliver your speech effectively is a crucial skill which any person should possess. It's vital in your workplace. It's vital in your professional life. And it all started from your primary education onwards. Like even in school, when you ever wanted to become the leader, okay, maybe the class representative or some other name given to the leadership role in the school, definitely communication skill played a vital role there. And beyond school level, like when you actually entered into college. So over there again, maybe, when you were president of a club or a committee, or again, when you were a class representative. So even in those spheres, you were constantly asked to address a huge set of audience, okay? You were constantly asked to, like occupy the stage, address a huge number of audience, and share your ideas, opinions, some guidelines, so several other things. So in order to leave a mark on your audience or to people who are simply following your words, it was essential that you had, as a leader, an effective skill, communication skill. And so this was all in our, like educational life. Now moving on to our professional life. So even there, we require effective communication skills. So, there are career counselors who often suggest that even at a workplace, people who can effectively communicate, right, who can actually stand out, who actually, speak significantly. So they can always stand out in the crowd, okay? They always are distinct amidst other employees. So communication skill, effective communication skill, speaking with confidence is a desired skill, and it aids you in actually achieving your desired success. Next slide, please. Okay. So, despite communication skill being such a crucial skill, okay, you got to possess that skill, you got to prepare yourself to speak out really well. But despite that, people are really scared of this particular skill. They are really scared of this particular practice. In fact, a recent study, okay, it was conducted asking people about their deepest fears. And you can see the list, right? In fact, as you could see, that public speaking supersedes even death. Okay, so death falls as the 7th most popular reason of fear. But then public speaking happens to be the first reason, or the topmost reason for which people are really scared. There are other fears as well. The list is just right in front of you. But then public speaking is always the first one for most of us. Yes, please, next slide. Okay. So what exactly happens? An individual, a person, can simply hold a conversation, can, talk to his or her friend, family member, face to face or over phone for really long time. They can hold a conversation for a really long time. But then the moment they are asked to deliver a speech, standing on a stage, or whenever you're asked to address a crowd, you're said that you got to formally address a set of people, a group of people. This activity becomes, or it turns out to be, extremely stressful for most of us, right? In the moments as you present, you may find yourself suffering from one or more of the following conditions. You might feel demophobia, that is the fear of people, or it could be laliophobia, that is fear of speaking, or catageulophobia, which is a fear of ridicule. So people, they actually undergo, or these different kinds of fear, they actually grip individuals just before they are about to deliver a talk. The event becomes extremely stressful. It becomes extremely, difficult. And we can just see in our next slide as to they might show these different kinds of symptoms too. Next slide, please. Yes. So, like these are the different kinds of symptoms which we might come across, which we often encounter, right? We might feel that we are having rapid pulse or dry mouth or sweaty palms, nausea, blurred vision. So we might, suffer from one or more of the following symptoms. So this is what happens the moment we are asked to deliver a talk on a formal setup. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. But then, like amidst all this, the good news is that you are not alone in this, right? Every presenter, indeed every performer, they suffer from some kind of nerves. They do feel nervous. So the thing is that there are musicians, there are actors who have come out and they have confessed that they do feel nervous before their performance, before their important event. And it's very natural for anyone to feel so. Like for example, there are actors, singers, such as you have Emma Watson, you have Beyonce. So they have actually come out and they have said, they have shared their experiences that they feel extremely nervous before their, performance, before facing the camera. Even there's Jennifer Lawrence. She is an Academy Award winner. So even she says that she feels extremely nervous before her performance, before facing the camera. So, it's a good news that most of us, okay, or maybe like honestly speaking, all of us may indeed feel nervous, may actually fear that, that public speaking, or we might encounter that stage fright. But then the best news is that nerves are there to help you. They are telling you that this presentation actually matters. So it's okay to feel nervous, right? Like today, as a resource person, I would just suggest all my listeners, all my audience here, that it's perfectly fine to feel nervous because we are all into this. And even there are stalwarts who are into this, right? And actually, nerves are there to guide us through a really successful presentation because it helps us to stay focused. Okay, if we are not nervous, right? If we are not encountering that fear within us, that shows that we are not taking the event, we are not taking the activity seriously. And when we are not serious, maybe we might not prepare well for it. Our concentration might slip. So therefore, it's important, or I would say that you're not alone in this, and nerves are there to actually support your performance, to support your presentation, your communication. Okay. Yes. Next slide, please. Yes. So the thing is that, it's, as I said, that it's common for us to feel nervous, to feel that scare in us. But then the question is how to prepare for the presentation, right? So over here, the trick is not to try to dispel the nerves, but rather to use them. Understand that nervousness is natural and indeed necessary. So the crux of the matter here is that you got to accept the nervousness. Take it, accept it, know it, like remember it that everyone feels, this nervousness. It's very natural. So it's nothing new that's happening to you. So accept it, and then you can prepare really well for your presentation. So why do we feel nervous? Now that's the question, right? So because any presentation, it actually involves an element of uncertainty because it's live. So it's happening in the real time, okay? It's live. So it's very natural for us to feel that nervousness because we don't know what is going to happen next, right? We may not know as to what we might come across or what might go wrong. So, feeling all this or pondering too much about all this actually tends to make us nervous. We may not know as to what questions you might get after your session. So we might be nervous for that as well. So, okay, nervousness is there, but then in order to combat this nervousness or not letting this nervousness to overshadow your performance, it's important that you support your nerves with really solid preparation. You can channel your nervous energy into the performance itself, okay? So the thing is that you're feeling very tense, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling stressed out. So the more you feel stressed out, prepare all the more, okay? Devote more time, dedicate yourself more into the into the practice session, into the rehearsals, so that you are really equipped with the content well. So the crux of the matter is that you've got to prepare well, and then you will be ready to bring the presentation to life. Next slide, please. Okay. So now the question arises as to how will you prepare for the presentation? You got to prepare really well. You got to defeat your nervousness. Okay. You got to defeat your fear. So now the question arises, how are you going to defeat them? So you got to broadly prepare in the three stated areas. That is the material, next is the audience, and also you got to look after yourself. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So now the question is as to how are you going to manage your material? Okay. Because organization of material plays a crucial role in your presentation. Now, what generally happens is in most of the presentations, the presenter is not weak. Okay, it's not that the presenter is underconfident or is weak, but rather the content was not prepared properly. So many presentations fail because the material is disorderly. So that's the one foremost point which actually tends to hamper your effective presentation. So when you're actually preparing your material, okay, so keep this in mind that your audience who is actually listening to you, who has come to attend your talk, may simply remember just a handful of things out of your entire content. So, since they are going to remember just a handful of stuff, it's important that you keep your content quite simple. The moment You simply make your material really difficult to comprehend, really difficult to understand. The audience, they feel a disconnect. They lose interest in what you're speaking. And gradually, the interest of the audience fades, and you might simply see expressions stating that they are bored, or maybe things are getting very monotonous, right? So in order to eradicate such an issue, it's important that you prepare your material in such a way that it is very easy to understand, and audience are able to connect to the content very conveniently, right? Other than that, you got to define your objective clearly. Okay, first, clarify the objective yourself as to why are you making this presentation. So that's important. So you got to, make your presentation clear to your audience. But before that, you got to have the objective clear at your own individual part. And though this might sound too grand, but then the thing is that your presentation, okay, it should, the main objective with which you are making a presentation, with which you are communicating with an audience. So the main objective behind that should be to inspire your audience. So if this happens to be your objective, everything else simply falls in its place. The duration, as well as the material that you are fetching and then presenting, the content. So all these simply fall in its place if you believe that you are going to inspire your audience. And then with this intention in mind, with this objective in mind, you got to speak with full dedication, passion, and sincerity. So if you have these cues available in your content, I think you are good to go. So I think, other than the audience and looking after yourself, it's very important that you manage your material, your content really well. Other than that, like when you're presenting, see that you make good use of visual aids as well. And you also, be familiar with those different kinds of aids, okay? Different kinds of visual aids which you are employing in your presentation. So be familiar with those so that you just don't fumble on the final day. So that's important in your preparation phase. Okay. Next slide, please. Yes. So after you have, managed your material well, you have organized your content really well, the next factor is that your audience is the foremost important thing. So you got to analyze your audience really well. You got to, prepare the material in such a way that the audience feels that connection, that they are being directly spoken to or addressed to. Okay, you are addressing the problems of the audience. So they should feel that way. And for that, it's important in your part, like as a speaker, to analyze your audience. Okay, so you need to do your homework. You need to have information about who your audience is, so that you can actually cater your material accordingly. Yes, next slide, please. Yes. So you got to have an idea of these different factors when you are preparing your content. Okay, like when you are actually kind of familiarizing yourself about the audience, as to who is your listener. So you need to know as to how many will be there, like how many people are going to attend, are going to listen to your talk. So have an idea about that. How much do they already know about the matter, and how much more do they need to know? Okay, so you need to also know as to like what are you going to tell them, and how far is it going to be beneficial to your listeners. Okay, so how much do they already know, and what else you can add to your information that they find it beneficial. Next is that is the audience young or old, right? So you got to know, have an information about this as well, as to who is your audience, what is the general age group of your audience, so that you can cater your content accordingly. Is the group basically a mixed one, or just belonging to one gender? So you need to be again familiar with these different aspects before you are creating your content. Are they technical specialists or generalists? Okay, so naturally you got to have details of these different points so that you can prepare your content accordingly. Yes. Next slide, please. Other than that, just remember that as a speaker, make sure that the audience remembers the central idea and a few key takeaways. So just don't burden your audience with lots and lots of information, because ultimately they are going to forget. They are just going to remember the central idea. And maybe you can always support your presentation with some story, some good storyline, some personal experiences, or maybe with the help of some visual aids, some kind of hyperlinks to some videos. So you can always make your talk interactive. You can always make your talk interesting by employing these different factors in your presentation. And also keep the introduction brief. Okay, so come to the content part as quickly as possible and keep the introduction part quite brief and quite straightforward and direct. Okay, the point here I'm emphasizing is that speak what is actually important, what is actually relevant to your audience. Just don't beat around the bush for a really long time. Okay, so you got to have an idea about your audience and then prepare your content accordingly. You can always support your content with some kind of story, with some kind of visual aids, and try to be straightforward, simple, direct in your approach, because ultimately your audience is going to remember the central idea of your talk. Yes, next slide. Okay, so now this putting it on cards, basically this is something very handy, very convenient, and it really helps speakers when they are making presentations and the presentation is a long one. Okay, it's stretching for a long time. You got to speak for hours, and a lot of points need to be memorized and kept in mind. The flow has to be taken care of as to which point has to be followed after which one. So in order to aid all this, in order to help you in all this, you can always put the important points on cards. And, prefer cards instead of papers, because cards are less shaky than a paper and they just don't rustle. Okay. So like when you are giving a talk, if you simply flip the paper, that rustling sound, that doesn't look quite professional. So in order to avoid that, always have those hard cards and just put your points in it and you're good to go. And also they are like more compact to use. Okay, like they easily fit in inside your palms. So it's very easy to use, ready to use. So you can go on with the cards, with the use of cards. They look more professional, certainly. I mean, instead of just having your papers flying loose in your hands, it's better to appear more professional with some card. And then they force you to write only brief notes. So naturally, like since they are small in size, they are compact. So what happens is you write just the keywords, just the brief points, and that way you appear more natural. Okay, you appear more spontaneous. Otherwise, if you depend entirely on the paper, I mean, generally when we are using a paper, we have a tendency of writing long sentences, and having instead of one page, we might end up having 2-3 pages filled with our content. So I mean, we get too dependent. So if we keep using papers, the thing is we'll never learn to actually deliver a talk independently. We'll always stay dependent on the papers, on the long sentences used in the papers. So putting it on cards actually helps us to prepare independently, because we are only using the pointers, the keywords, and we can simply elaborate on it, okay, as we want. And it really helps us with the flow of our talk as well, that okay, this follows after this. In fact, I would say, like, if you are giving a presentation such as this, like a PowerPoint presentation, so over there as well, stick to the keywords. Okay, just don't employ very long sentences when you are actually preparing your slides. You can keep your points concise, compact, and you can explain the points, okay, as you want. So that way you'll appear more natural, spontaneous, and you'll be able to connect with your audience on a more personal level. And yet it will look professional. So it's a win-win situation throughout. Okay, next slide, please. Yes. So now when you're preparing your, cards, see that you write your notes in bold print. Okay, so although it's a compact item in your hand, but still you shouldn't be, struggling to actually figure out which point you got to deliver now, right? So try to keep the font of your writing slightly bold so that you can easily identify as to which point you are stating at the current time. Also, write on just one side of your card, okay? So sometimes people, they tend to write on both the sides, and it looks strictly unprofessional if you, again, flip your card just to refer to the points. So instead of that, you can, keep your cards sequentially, just a limited number of points per card, speak, and then you can move on to the next one. And you can always number the cards, okay? So that's a good way. It will help you to, keep the track of the points that you're saying. And when you are preparing the cards, you can always remember to include points as to what you must say, okay? Like what are the essential things that you got to speak in your talk, and what you should say to support the main idea, and what else you could say if you have time. So you can have some, backup ideas also, points also. So you can have these entries in your cards. You can also have some miscellaneous notes with regard to your timing, the visual aids, or maybe some cues for your own behavior. So your own behavior pertains to the, the non-verbal cues or the paralinguistic aspects that you got to keep in mind while you are delivering your content. So these different points are actually here to actually guide a first-time presenter or any presenter who is really stressed out, is feeling extremely anxious about his or her presentation. So you can always take help of cards. You can organize your content well in a card, and also it will not make you too dependent. Like, you will have the key pointers in it, and you can always expand on those points while you are interacting with the audience. So this is something which is really helpful for speakers who are anxious, so that they can speak confidently. Yes, next slide, please. Okay. So now you have prepared your cards. You have the cards with you ready. So after that, the next stage is that you got to rehearse. You got to practice. So I must say that speaking with confidence has no shortcut as such. Okay, so you simply can't start speaking effectively and confidently in just one day. If you're really feeling stressed out, if you feel that you have this hyper stage fright, so you can't actually get out of it in one day's time. There has to be ample rehearsal from your end. You have to put in effort from your end to succeed in order to improve upon this particular skill. And rehearsal is important because it is the reality check. Actually, what happens is, like, sometimes as speakers, we might feel overconfident that, okay, I know my content so well. I know all the points which I got to elaborate on. And due to this overconfidence, what happens is we might either end up speaking too much or at times too less. So rehearsal is actually the reality check. Okay. And when you're rehearsing, see that you just don't skip any points. Do the rehearsal with the entire content. And if you have a different kind of, visual aids that you're employing, some videos that you are displaying, some images that you are displaying, so be familiar with those. So the rehearsal part is actually, a stage where you are making yourself acquainted to these different aspects that you are going to employ in your talk. So be familiar with all those things, because if you have the stage fright, if you're feeling too nervous, it's very natural that you might simply fumble, or you might simply feel stumped by seeing an image or some kind of a visual aid which you were not familiar to earlier. Okay, so it's always important that keep yourself familiar as to what are the different components you are employing in your presentation. Okay, and also rehearsal is a time check. Now, generally, like when I take my classes and when I work with my trainees, this is the most, situation which happens to most of my trainees, that they they'll explain the introduction for too long. They will, or rather they might simply exaggerate on a particular point for too long. And due to this, the time simply runs out. So rehearsal again is a time check. It helps you to stay on track. Okay, so it helps you to prepare as to how much you got to emphasize on a certain point, how much you got to elaborate or keep the content concise on a certain point. So therefore, rehearsal is absolutely crucial when it comes to presentation. Next slide, please. Okay, so some of the rehearsing guidelines. So rehearse in real time and don't skip bits. Okay, that's important. So what happens here is that you should rehearse all the points. Okay, just don't think that, okay, I know this point, I know this particular keyword on that particular situation, I'll be able to elaborate on this particular point. Don't do that. That's certainly not helpful. Don't be overconfident when you are making a presentation, okay, or preparing for a presentation. Rehearse with a friend. Ask them what they think and work with them to improve. Now, this is extremely important. Maybe in your communication class, okay, the teacher, the trainer may not have sufficient time to rehearse with you, to spend enough time with each and every trainee. But then you can always work in groups, you can always work with friends, and you can rehearse with them, okay? So you can ask your friends, you can ask any of your family members and help them to criticize your presentation. Ask them the areas where you can improve upon, okay? And also it's important that you have a positive attitude. Like if somebody is criticizing you, if somebody is suggesting you something, just don't feel that they are letting you down or they are just, criticizing you, they are offending you. Just get out of those kind of mindset, but rather accept those different kinds of criticism, okay? Accept them and improve upon them. It's very important. And other than this, you can also, record your own videos. That's also important. Like maybe you don't have friends or anyone around, but still you want to see as to how you got to speak, how are you speaking. So you can judge it for yourself. So you can simply keep your electronic devices in front of you. You can record your presentation, and after that, you can see it for yourself as to, do you like your presentation? Like as a speaker, do you feel that it's an interesting one? Okay, or where are the, you can actually look into the areas where you can improve upon. So record your videos and look for yourself. And also when you're rehearsing, it's important that you stand in front of a mirror, okay, and then deliver your talk. Because while you are delivering your talk and when you get to see yourself live, okay, that really helps you to improve upon. You really feel confident after you are making a presentation while standing in front of the mirror, okay? Next is rehearse with your notes. Get into the habit of looking up from them, okay? So those cards that I mentioned in my previous slides, so you can always take help of those during your rehearsal. And there's no harm in even taking the cards on the final day to the stage. That's perfectly fine. But then try to gradually get out of, out of this habit of depending too much on the content, on the cards. So you can rehearse with them and gradually you can start not being dependent on any of those written material. Rehearse with the visual aids at least once. As I said, you need to be familiar with the content so that you are simply not, astounded by some new image coming in front of you. So rehearse with the visual aids at least once, okay? And rehearse in the venue itself if you can. So if you feel that you are extremely scared of delivering your talk, you can make some time and you can pay a visit to the venue and get familiar with the atmosphere there as well. Like you can just go to the stage, you can see, you can get that feel, okay, that real-time feel by standing on the stage and imagining that the audience is there right in front of you. So what would happen is that when back home, when you're preparing for your talk, that would really help you to visualize the situation. Like, okay, this is how it is going to be. So you'll be really acquainted with all the environment and everything, and that would really make you at ease. That would help you to calm yourself if you're feeling too anxious, if you're feeling too scared. Okay. Yes. Next slide, please. Okay. So after this, we spoke on doing our homework on the audience as to who is going to listen to our talk, and then again rehearsing, and then using our or rather putting our content in the cards. So after we have done all this, again it's important that you know how to control the audience. Okay. So basically, controlling the audience here means that how to connect with your audience. Now, generally, this is again one aspect where the speaker sometimes fall short, because they concentrate so hard on the audience, on the material, that they simply ignore the audience. Okay, or they simply forget to pay heed to what their body is communicating with the audience, right? Because when you are delivering a talk, it's again important to pay heed to the non-verbal cues while you are making a presentation. So it's again important that other than material, you support your presentation with really positive non-verbal cues, so that your audience, they are hooked up to what you are speaking. Okay. They really find your talk interesting. Like the material wise, okay, but then personality wise, again, you need to be effective when you are speaking in front of the crowd. Next slide, please. Okay. So the first in the category is eye contact. So look at the audience's eyes throughout the presentation. Now that's important. Okay. So whenever you are making a presentation, see that you are, addressing to people entirely present in the hall, in the auditorium. So try to skim your glance through different set of crowd and people sitting or spread throughout the room or the venue. And you can always pick out a few faces that look particularly friendly and return to them. So, I mean, when you're delivering a talk, there could be some people in the audience who might not be interested in your topic, or they are simply not interested in anything. Okay. But then that's not your fault. Like as a speaker, it's not your problem that people are not interested in your talk. They just don't want to hear you out. Some of them are always distracted, right? So as a speaker, it's important that you filter out such kind of, audience. Try to focus on faces who are really friendly to you. Like in the audience, again, when you see that some set of people are really paying heed to what you are saying, okay, they are at least trying to be attentive to your talk. So concentrate more on them so that, you are at ease, you are at comfort. Because if you look to people who are slightly distracted, that might actually have a negative psychological impact, and that might affect your presentation. Okay, so it's better to pick few faces and return to them more often. But then that doesn't mean that you need to simply ignore the rest of the crowd, but then you can focus more on those friendly faces. And once in a while, you can again skim through the other people also, despite they not being interested in your talk. And certainly, you need to include the whole audience with your eyes. Okay, so anyone sitting in the corner, the backside of the room, they should feel that as a speaker, you are addressing to them. Okay, you are talking to them. So please try to connect with all the members in the room, wherever they might be sitting, through building proper eye contact. And also it's important that when you are looking into their faces, you simply don't, stare slightly above their head, or at the ceiling, or outside the window or door somewhere. Like as a speaker, it's important that you don't appear too distracted. Okay. So try to look into their eyes and then communicate your content. Okay, next slide, please. Yes. Now, facial expressions again play a crucial role, because face is considered as an index of our mind, right? So it's important that we keep a very, friendly expression. We keep a positive expression, so that the audience, they really feel pleasant attending your talk. That's important, okay? And also remember to smile. That's very important when you're making a presentation. So have a friendly face, remember to smile, and just don't frown when you are speaking, okay? Or just don't appear too scared or nervous, because that might tend to make your audience lose interest in your talk. So have a positive facial expression. Yes, next slide, please. Yes, so now gestures are again the next important thing which you got to look into. So use your gestures to support the flow of delivery, to help you get the words out. Okay. So now the thing here is that some of the speakers, they might use a lot of gestures. Okay, they might use a lot of hand movements while they are speaking. So that's totally fine. Like it's totally fine if you are comfortable using your hand movements. Certainly you may not overdo it, but then you can freely use your hand movements to support your delivery style. But remember that your hand movements, your gestures, they are helping you to get the words out. Okay, not simply overdoing anything. And on the other hand, there could be speakers who may not be very comfortable using gestures, okay, hand gestures too much. Like they prefer not using gestures while they are speaking. So even that works totally fine. So the thing is that go with any such hand movements or the motions which is actually helping you to get the words out. They are helping you to recall your points, because such kind of hand movements, they actually help you with the flow of the points of the content. Don't cross your hands behind your back or in front of the chest, and neither put them in your pockets too much, right? So these again, they are negative, the paralinguistic aspects that you got to keep in mind. So just don't put your hands behind while you are making a presentation, because, in the world of non-verbal communication, experts say that if you are keeping your hands behind your back, it appears as if you are secretive or you are simply concealing something. Okay, so that's something not favorable. And also, you should not be putting your arms right in front of your chest. Neither you should put your hands too much in your pockets. Okay. And again, you should empty your pockets before the presentation, so that you don't find yourself jingling coins or keys, right? So empty your pockets. Remember that. Like if you have this habit of putting your hands inside the pocket, so just empty your pockets beforehand, because that again appears very unprofessional if you are delivering a talk and suddenly your coins jingle. So avoid doing that, right? And other than this, also try avoiding any kind of props in your hand, keeping any kind of props in your hand, like maybe some pen, or sometimes people have this habit of playing with their wristwatch or finger rings. So you should avoid doing all that, because that again appears very distracting to the audience. So follow these different or small gestures while you are making a presentation. Next slide, please. Yes. So other than these, look straight as you walk into occupy the stage. Okay. Avoid being too fast or too slow while walking up to the podium. So what happens is, like, once your name is called out and you got to walk and occupy the platform, start practicing that walk of confidence from there itself. Okay. So walk with your head really held high, walk straight, look straight, and then just, maintain your pace as well. Just don't walk too fast or too slow, because that again might show that maybe you are slightly uncomfortable. So try to have a balanced pace while you are walking to the stage, and look straight, right? Just don't, while entering, don't look to the ceiling, fans, or outside the window, because that again makes you appear too unprofessional. Don't let your shoulders droop. Don't slouch while walking or sprawl while sitting, right? So these are the things that you got to keep in mind while you have started talking. So, you got to have a good body posture when you are communicating, when you are delivering your talk. You got to appear really positive and healthy when you are making a presentation. Next is, like, when you're standing and making a presentation, keep one foot ahead of the other, as this helps you feel and appear at ease. Okay. So just don't keep your feet parallel to one another, or simply standing in that simply inattention. So just avoid doing that. Rather keep one foot ahead of the other one. That way, you'll also feel that you are at ease, and the audience would also feel that you are at ease, and you are, like, interacting with them informally, right? So try to have this kind of a posture when you are actually standing and delivering a talk. And then avoid touching your face when you speak. So sometimes we have this habit of, scratching our forehead, nose, or simply touching our cheeks, the chin area. So avoid doing that, because that shows that maybe you are subconsciously nervous or distracted, and that doesn't goes well again in the presentation skill. Okay. So avoid touching your face, your neck, okay, any of those things, and just interact with your audience in a casual manner, in a very calm, with a very calm composure. That's important. Yes, next slide. Okay, so when you're actually speaking, when you're actually delivering your talk, so you got to pay heed to the rate also, right? So what is rate? It basically implies the number of words we utter per minute. So you got to keep that in mind, because you need to assess as to whether you are a fast speaker or a slow speaker, and then kind of prepare yourself accordingly. Like in the rehearsal, when you are rehearsing, you can actually look into this factor and you can prepare accordingly. Because if you speak too fast, so that shows that you are somewhat uncomfortable. There is somewhat uneasiness when you are delivering your talk. And similarly, if you're too slow, what happens, like that might cause a monotony, okay, or a boredom. So in order to eradicate that, you got to have a proper pace. So the ideal one is that you can go with 125 to 150 words per minute. So that's a standard, range that you can have while you're practicing. And in case the matter requires meditative attention, then maybe you can go slower. Or maybe when you're teaching something really difficult, some difficult concept, so maybe you can go a bit slow because your audience need to really understand and comprehend the entire content. But otherwise, just go with the 125 to 150 word range. Next slide, please. Okay. So now pauses are again crucial in your talk. So without pause, what happens? Our speech appears unnatural and hasty. So you need to realize as to, where you got to take pauses, because pauses, they tend to lend credibility to the text of the speech. Okay. So you need to be clear as to whether you are, emphasizing on a particular point, on some specific word, or whether it's a conclusion that you are highlighting. So you should be, clear with that. You should be aware of the points and then employ your pause accordingly. Because it is important not to put them at wrong places. The wrong, pause in a wrong place might simply give away a wrong meaning altogether. So you got to employ it in correct situation. Yes, next slide, please. Okay, next is your volume. So again, volume is, something very important. You really sound confident through your volume, the volume that you are practicing. So low volume is usually related to people who lack that confidence. Okay. And if you have a very high volume, so even that suggests that, you are slightly dumb or boorish. So you got to actually have that proper balanced volume, and you can always determine this based on the reaction from the crowd. So if the people sitting in the front side of the room, they simply are giving some funny expressions to your talk. So maybe you can just, realize from their experience, from their expression, that you got to maybe lower your volume a bit. You're too loud and you got to lower it. And simultaneously, you can see the people sitting at the end of the room. So if you feel that they are simply craning their head, or they are really making an effort to hear you out, okay, or they are simply giving some kind of confused expression, so that means that you need to raise your volume. So basically, it's your audience who will, the expressions of the audience that is going to suggest you that whether you need to increase or decrease your volume. Okay, but then volume plays a crucial role in your style of delivery. You got to sound really confident. That's the thing. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, voice modulation. So now this is the rise and fall in the human voice. So again, that voice modulation is crucial to express different kind of emotions. So a single sentence might be delivered via different kind of, that low or high pitch, and they might simply convey different meanings, right? So it's important that you practice proper voice modulation when you are delivering your talk. Next slide, please. Pronunciation. So whenever we speak and enunciate different sounds in a distinct and crisp manner, our articulation is considered appropriate and impressive. Okay. So you should keep in mind that you simply just don't mix and mumble the different sounds of any language, because that makes you appear too sloppy and inelegant. So instead of that, try to have a clear articulation, clear pronunciation. You can specifically emphasize on sounds like sir and sure. Like some speakers, they tend to articulate throughout the sounds or the words would start with the letter S. Okay, they might either stick to sir or they might make all the words sound as sure. So you should have that proper, distinction between such sounds, like how is sir and sure articulated, and employ those when you are speaking any word, when you are, uttering any word. Then you can also keep in mind the manner of articulation with regard to certain fricative sounds. Okay, like how is is articulated, how is articulated, right? So maybe like your trainers, they can simply share with you the different manner of articulation, the place of articulation, and you can employ those when you are actually using these particular sounds, these specific sounds, the fricative sounds. And then there is this difference, like there is this difference between the sound were and were. Okay, this semi-vowel were and were. Okay, so there's a difference. So you need to keep these specific utterances in mind and use them accordingly. So pronunciation again plays a very crucial role in your style of delivery. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so now you have, you tried to build an impression on your audience. So now you got to look after yourself. Okay, so you managed your material well, you organized the content really well after analyzing your audience and catering the content according to their needs. You motivated them really well, and you employed different kinds of non-verbal cues. But other than this, it is important that you look after yourself. So you got to remember that nerves are there to help you. Accept this reality. There's no harm in feeling nervous, but then just don't let that nervousness to overshadow your performance. Okay. So before your presentation, spend about 15 minutes time simply doing nothing but preparing yourself mentally. That's important. Okay. So calm yourself. Just do nothing. Just don't, skim through the notes as to what you have to deliver. Don't do that. Keep yourself in a very calm and composed state and then go for your talk. Next is that it can sometimes be useful to meet the audience and chat with them before you start. Yes, like when you are actually delivering a talk in person, you can always interact with your audience and, get to know them. And this might really help you to know them better, and also, making yourself more comfortable amidst them. So this might be useful for some of the speakers. Not everyone is comfortable with this particular point, but some of them might find this useful. You can always practice deep breathing. Like if you feel too stressed out or extreme stage fright, you can practice deep breathing. Okay, try to practice this not from your lungs, but rather from your stomach, from the core stomach area. Okay, so try this deep breathing. It will really help you to calm yourself. And then finally, try tongue twisters. Okay, so try some twisters because that is a kind of a warm-up to you. And that really helps you to articulate your words clearly. Okay, it really makes your muscles quite worked up, warmed up. So try some tongue twisters just out of fun. And then I think you'll be really comfortable to articulate any words, difficult words, big words confidently in front of your audience. So this way you can actually look after yourself. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so in conclusion, so with this, I end my talk. So basically, in conclusion, I would say that as such, there is no shortcut to speaking confidently and effectively. It really requires preparation, hard work, dedication, passion from the speaker's end. Okay, so you got to prepare your content well, make it interesting, and make it in such a way that the audience feel that connect with what you are trying to imply. And then analyze your audience well before your talk as to who is going to attend your talk and what do they actually need from you, what are you actually going to teach them. Okay, so all these factors depend if you analyze your audience really well. And then when you have analyzed all that, rehearse sufficiently. And if you feel that you're forgetting certain points, put them on cards and make use of those. But then gradually try to get, don't use them, like don't overuse them. Try to become an independent speaker. Don't depend on them too much. And also employ your talk with you can support your talk with the non-verbal cues that I mentioned, the eye contact, the gestures, postures, the facial expressions, okay, the rate of your talk. So just support your delivery with all these factors, and this way you can actually leave an impression on your listener. Okay, they'll really find you an effective speaker. And then ultimately, it's important that you look after yourself, you take care of yourself. Okay, so for that, take a deep breath, calm yourself before your presentation, and also in your free time, you can practice some tongue twisters. So all this is really going to help you to become an effective speaker. Okay, so the crux of the matter is that preparation and practice will make anyone a better speaker. Okay, so you got to rehearse, you got to prepare and practice, and take your criticism on a healthy note. Okay, so that's important. So next slide, please. Okay, so with this, I end my talk, but then I believe that this is the beginning. Okay, so thank you everyone for hearing me out. It was really wonderful connecting with all of you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really a feast listening to you. I will give the summary of your talk before after taking up the questions. So I would request the admin to put up the question. Ma'am, this is the first question for you. How can we realize that our audience is satisfied with our presentation?
Okay, so first is that you can always realize how effectively you spoke and whether you were able to connect with your audience based on their expressions. Okay, the way they are reacting to whatever you spoke out to them. So if they really feel that it was useful and you were effective in your delivery, so they will pay heed to your talk. So I think if they are paying attention, if they are concentrating well on your talk, your work is really done on a positive note. So I think based on the audience's expressions, you can realize that whether the presentation was satisfactory or not.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question has come. How does a speaker make attraction towards his or her audience?
Okay, so first is like if you are employing some kind of PowerPoint presentations, if you are using, I mean, it's not just an oral presentation, but also a PowerPoint presentation. So you can always employ those attractive visual aids, or you can provide really effective hyperlinks to some of the videos. So all those would really make your talk quite interesting, intriguing, right? And other than this, if you are simply giving an oral talk, okay, orally you are speaking out to the audience. So other than your content, it's important that you pay heed to the non-verbal cues. Okay, so the different paralinguistic factors that I discussed in my talk. So employ those. I think that would really make you as a speaker attractive in the eyes of your audience. Other than this, you can also take care of the way in which you are dressing yourself. Okay, so even your proper attire leaves a good impression on your audience. So this is how you can make it attractive. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Can we have another question? You take too much time while making a presentation, because of which your time and energy is lost in that single presentation. So why does this happen? Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
this
you
has come
have,
from a student.
okay, so basically, why does this happen? Because maybe you have not organized your content really well. As I said, that rehearsal is a time check. So during the course of your rehearsal, it's important that you pay heed to all the distribution of points, okay, to certain like you got to assign certain time to certain points. So you got to decide on all those factors during the preparation time. So if you're not doing that, that means that you haven't prepared well, you haven't rehearsed well. So that's a kind of statement that you haven't, basically you haven't prepared well. Okay, so that is why it happens. So you got to prepare well in order to eradicate this problem.
Okay. Can we have more questions? Yeah. Ma'am, according to you, which makes more powerful presentation in front of the audience? Notes, cards, or memorization speech?
It's certainly the memorization speech. It's always like, more attractive again. Like I think you asked earlier, like what makes you more attractive. So if you are memorizing your speech and delivering it, so it really makes it quite attractive. But like as a support, there's no harm in using some kind of notes. Sorry, and let me just read out your question again. Ma'am, according to you, which makes more powerful present? Yeah, so you're talking about just a general presentation, right? So definitely memorization is the more attractive one. But then you can always take help of the notes, because notes help you out in going with the flow of your talk. I mean, which point to follow after which one. So you can take support of those. But then if you are good to go just by memorizing the speech, nothing is more attractive than that. And in fact, you should aim for that. Like initially you can start making use of notes, but then gradually you need to go to the next level, the advanced level, that is memorizing your speech and delivering it.
Okay. Can we have any more question? Yes. Verbal or visual? How information is distributed across speech and gesture?
Okay, so basically, whenever we are delivering a talk, so naturally, we often use our gestures to support our content, right? And so gestures are like a part and parcel of your delivery. Now, other than this, when it comes to verbal or visual aids, okay, so naturally you can employ those and you can make your content really live, okay, really interesting in your content. And I think visual aids are all the more attractive. Like it makes the audience quite hooked up to your talk. Like even if they are not listening to what you're saying, at least they'll remember the visual aids, the different images that you employed in your content. So I think you can make ample use of visual aids in your presentation. And then verbally, certainly, I mean, you can support those visual aids with proper explanation. So I think this is how you can distribute the two in your speech and gesture. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Another question is: making eye contact very important in our culture to improve human relations, interactions, or communication?
Yes, it is important. At least I believe that it's important. Like whenever we are communicating, so we got to have a healthy eye contact. Okay, like it shouldn't appear that you're staring at the other person. Like if you're having a face-to-face conversation with someone, so it shouldn't appear that you are simply staring at them. That becomes little too much. But then a healthy eye contact is absolutely important, because that way it shows that you are quite convincing in whatever you are saying. So it's important, certainly important in our culture, to have a healthy eye contact.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Can we have, okay, what are the key points to prepare if topic is of wide range?
Well, I think you need to see as to what is the time duration of your talk, and based on that, don't spend too much on your introduction part, but rather come to the key points. Okay, the main the essential points that you are trying to speak out to your audience. So I think devote more time to that main content of your talk, and then finally at the end you can briefly kind of recall the main points as your conclusion. So that is how you can prepare. So but then just don't spend too much on the introduction part. That is what I would say.
Okay, ma'am. So I think this is going to be the last question. How can we take control over gestures in interactions?
Yeah, so I think I well explained the different gestures that you got to employ in your presentation while you are presenting. So I think it should be like they should aid your presentation. Okay, they should support your talk. So, and however you employ your gestures, you should appear confident. Okay, it shouldn't in any way appear hideous to the audience, or that you are being underconfident, but rather you are confident, and you are clear and transparent in your thoughts. So that is how you can express your opinion with the help of gestures in interactions. And I think I have elaborated enough on this in my talk. So yeah.
Okay. What happens if we avoid mimicry in a rehearsal? It's a question from a student of our college.
Okay, so what happens if we avoid mimicry in rehearsal? Well, like this particular topic, like the one that I spoke, it is with regard to the formal conversations. Okay, the formal talk that you're supposed to deliver in front of the crowd. Well, mimicry is not part of this formal communication. So basically, this is altogether a different area, a different topic which has to be dealt separately. So that's not within the boundary of today's topic.
Okay. We have another question, ma'am, for you. Is there any strategy? I think it's a syntactical error.
Yeah,
is there any strategy to get intel of audience, as it is a matter of common interest between speaker and audience? Ma'am, did you get the question?
Is there any strategy to get intel of audience, as it is matter of common interest between speaker and audience? No, I think the meaning is slightly hazy. I mean,
yeah.
I think, like basically you got to have a proper analysis of your audience, like who is going to listen to you, who is going to attend your talk. So if you have really done your homework on that level, so maybe that you are on a common platform with your audience, like what they want and then what you are offering. So that way, maybe there is a common interest between the speaker and the audience.
Is there any question? I request the admin. Okay, so ma'am, all the questions have been satisfactorily answered, and ma'am, thank you so much. to defend all these questions, though some of the questions are off the track by the students. Sir, excuse me, ma'am. Actually, we have one question from one of our faculty members. Can we include a little humor in presentation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You should, include humor. If you feel that you have a good sense of humor, a healthy sense of humor, you can always include that in your presentation, because that really makes your audience hooked up to your talk. But then if you feel that you're not good at, cracking humor, cracking jokes, then you can refrain doing it. But then if you are confident about it, you can certainly employ it. That's a positive thing in presentation.
Okay, so ma'am, now finally the questions are answered well. And to sum up your presentation, ma'am, you talked about everything in a greater detail related to your topic, speaking with confidence, beginning from how to put notes in cards instead of flapping around the pages with unavoidable sound. And you also discussed paralinguistic aspects and how to deal with hyper stage fright and some do's and don'ts while speaking with confidence, some how to deal with some tautological errors, repetitions in speaking, and many other associates. So thank you so much, ma'am. It was really very informative and very thought-provoking session from you. And I believe that all of our participants have been profited. And so once again, ma'am, thank you so much. And thank you for accepting the proposal in a very short period of time. This much, ma'am, thank you.
So it was a pleasure, Debashish sir, to connect with all of you. Thank you for inviting me, giving me this opportunity to speak and connect with all of you. And it was really wonderful speaking in front of all of you and, taking questions. I mean, I really found some interesting questions. So thank you. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Have a good day, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Stay safe. Yeah, stay safe, all of you. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. And now I have some announcements. We are done with this current session. Now we'll be right back in the post-lunch session. And in the post-lunch session, we have the penultimate session. This is the last session of this two-day international webinar, Delving Deep Language Skills and Undercurrent Personality Traits. And after the last session, we are going to have the vote of thanks and a valedictory address. So I request all the participants to be with us because during the vote of thanks and valedictory session, we are going to announce we are going to have some announcements for all of you regarding certificates. So for now, we are taking a pause for the lunch session, and we will come back in the post-lunch session. Thank you. Thank you so much.